Putin Bad News. After Russia claimed victory in Bakhmut, Ukraine maintained its pressure. The Ukraine, Oleg Shuryayev, commander of a Ukrainian battalion, watched as Russian forces advanced across a field toward a patch of trees outside the city of Bakhmut using footage captured by a drone camera. A mortar squad was then briefed by the commander of the 228th Battalion, 127th Kharkiv Territorial Defense Brigade. The focus was set. A loud orange explosion erupted from a mortar tube, and the already scarred landscape of the hillside was pocked further by the resulting crater. Shuryayev declared, "We are moving forward," after at least one drone image revealed a downed Russian fighter. To paraphrase, "We fight for every tree, every trench, and every dugout." After 15 months of a full-scale invasion of Ukraine, Russian forces declared victory last month in the city in the east. Shuryayev and the other Ukrainian defenders aren't backing down, though. Instead, they are continuing to exert pressure and fight from outlying locations to the west of Bakhmut. Moscow's commanders now have more to consider as they prepare for the much-anticipated Ukrainian counteroffensive. According to Hanna Maliar, Ukraine's deputy defense minister, Russia has been trying to make it seem like things have calmed down around Bakhmut, when in reality, artillery shelling is still occurring at levels comparable to those seen during the height of the battle to take the city. According to her, the battle is entering a new stage. The battle for the Bakhmut area hasn't stopped, it is ongoing, just taking different forms, Maliar, in her signature fatigues, said in an interview from a military media center in Kyiv. Russian forces are currently attempting to dislodge Ukrainian fighters from the dominant heights overlooking Bakhmut, but they have so far been unsuccessful. I quote, "We are holding them very firmly. The area around Bakhmut is just a small piece of the over 1,000-kilometer, 621-mile, front line that the Russian military must maintain," according to the Kremlin. The possible departure of mercenaries from private military contractor Wagner Group, who assisted in seizing control of the city, could make this task more challenging. Russian troops will take their place. The Ukrainian 3rd Separate Assault Brigade has been particularly active on the two flanks to the northwest and southwest, where they have been trying to wrest small gains from the enemy, according to officials. Russia's goal had been to take control of the eastern Donbas region, the industrial heartland of Ukraine, and seizing Bakhmut would have been a step in the right direction. In order to maintain city control, its forces have been forced to reorganize, rotate personnel, and restock weapons. After losing over 20,000 men, Wagner's owner declared a withdrawal. If they had not been destroyed during the defense of Bakhmut, Maliar said of the Wagner forces, one can imagine that all these tens of thousands would have advanced deeper into Ukrainian territory. Recent days have been dominated by near-nightly attacks on Kyiv, a series of unclaimed drone strikes near Moscow, and the growing anticipation that the Ukrainian government will try to regain ground, all of which have taken attention away from the fate of Bakhmut, which lies largely in ruins. However, the fight for the city may yet have lasting consequences. Russian media have been particularly triumphant, illustrating how Moscow has capitalized on its capture. If Russia were to lose its grip, it would be a political disaster for President Putin. U.S. think tank CNA's Michael Kaufman noted in a podcast this week that maintaining control of Bakhmut will be more difficult in light of the victory. Russian forces are going to be increasingly fixed to Bakhmut, and will find it difficult to defend, Kaufman said in an interview published on Tuesday on War on the Rocks. This is because Wagner fighters are pulling back. And so they might not keep Bakhmut, and it might all be for naught in the end for them, he added. A Western official who spoke on the condition of anonymity said that Russian airborne forces are playing a significant role in replacing the departing Wagner troops, which is likely to antagonize the airborne leadership because they view the duty as further eroding their previously elite status in the military. According to one Ukrainian analyst, Ukrainian forces have been slowly but steadily regaining ground on the city's outskirts, a few hundred yards at a time, in order to strengthen their defensive lines and look for openings to retake some urban areas. The goal in Bakhmut is not Bakhmut itself, which has been turned into ruins, military analyst Roman Svitin said over the phone. The Ukrainians' objective is to keep the western heights and keep up a defensive line around the city. More generally, Ukraine aims to put pressure on Russian forces and seize the initiative before launching a counteroffensive, a strategy known in the military as shaping operations, because it alters the nature of the battle and forces the enemy to take a defensive stance. Ukrainian military spokesman Serhiy Cherevati stated that the primary objective in the Bakhmut region was to restrain the enemy and destroy as much personnel and equipment as possible, in order to foil any potential Russian breakthrough or outflanking maneuver. Matthew Bulig, an analyst, doubted that the events of Bakhmut would teach us anything useful for the upcoming war. In addition to military might, he emphasized the importance of information superiority, the capacity to create subterfuge, to create obfuscation of your force, to be able to move in the shadows. According to Bulig, a consulting fellow in the Russia and Eurasia program at the Chatham House think tank in London, these strategies could determine which side gains an advantage that catches the other side by surprise, and turns the tide of war.